Good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you all to the PB Conservation Commission public hearing this evening. Today is Wednesday, December 16th. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, tonight's public hearing is being held by means of a Zoom webinar so that we can stay safe and meet the requirements set by Governor Baker. I will read Governor Baker's order suspending certain rules regarding public meetings pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 orders suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general laws, chapter 30A, subsection 18 of the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the PBD Conservation Commission will be conducted by a remote participation to the greatest extent possible. No in-person attendance or members of the public will be permitted, but every effort we made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so on matters not requiring a public hearing, we will post on the City PBD's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive recordings as soon as possible after the meeting. I want to welcome you all here this evening. Today, with us are commissioners, myself, Michael Rizzo. Present at the meeting today is Arthur Athis, Commissioner Stuart Lazarus, Commissioner Bruce Comack, and Commissioner Travis Wadsky. And not here this evening is Amanda Green and Melissa Canton. And we're expecting Mike Vivaldi, but he's not here yet. So with that, we'll get started. Our first item on the agenda this evening is a request for a determination of applicability. The public hearing on a request for a determination of applicability submitted by Brad Linehan, owner. Proposed work is the addition and deck to a single-family home. Property is known as 1 Allen Road Extension, map 106, lot 341, in the city of Peabody. And just for the record, Mike Vivaldi just signed on. Okay.
Should I get started, or Lucia, did you want to kick off with anything? I'm happy to kick things off.
If you want to, I'm going to share the screen for him, everyone. So I guess if you want to speak, and I'll just start sharing.
Yeah, that would be great. So thanks, Mike, and hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Brad Linehan, the owner of the property at 1 Allen Road Extension in Peabody. This is a single-family home. I live here with my wife, Amelia, and my 1-year-old daughter, Riley. In terms of the project itself, we're proposing an addition to the back of our home to upgrade our kitchen and to add an additional bedroom and bathroom to the house. Behind the addition will be an additional deck off the back. In terms of the size of the addition, it will be 16 feet by 35 feet. And the new deck would be a 10-foot deck by 20-foot deck off of that addition itself. In terms of the work required, this really won't require any vegetation clearing or any significant grading of the land that exists. This work will all be done within our fenced-in backyard, which is a manicured lawn on a relatively level grade. With respect to the wetlands themselves, we hired a wetland scientist from Hancock Associates to perform a review of the proposed addition and to locate any wetland resource areas nearby. There are no wetlands located on our property itself, but Hancock did identify an existing wetland area approximately 61 feet away from us on a neighboring property, which is an undeveloped parcel of land. So we know that this project will be within the 100-foot buffer zone of the wetlands. So we reviewed this wetlands report with our contractor and with Lucia. And as I mentioned, there is an existing fence along the entire property line in the backyard that provides a clear limit of work. So we'll really never get anywhere near the wetlands area itself during the construction. In terms of mitigation and erosion control, you can see on Lucia's screen here, we're proposing to install compost logs around the perimeter of the work area, all within the inside of the fenced-in backyard, just to prevent any stormwater runoff or sediment from leaving the property during construction. And this will all be put in place, obviously, prior to starting or commencing any work. So that's sort of a background of the project itself and our plan in place. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to take them at this time.
Looks pretty, really simple to me. Is that the lot looks pretty flat. Those grades. Is this lot raised up, or is it pretty level?
Yeah, it's pretty level, Mike. Yeah, and what you can see here on the plot plan, in terms of the property lines, if you saw the property, essentially there's a fence along those entire property lines around the perimeter of the house.
Okay. Seems fairly straightforward. The erosion controls. Now you're gonna need to get a vehicle or a truck in there, backcoating, to excavate for your foundation.
Yep.
So your erosion controls will have to be opened up there for a truck to get in there. So maybe, so if you put those in, then you'll have to move them again so your vehicle can get in, so your truck can get in there. So maybe I'm okay the way you have it, but in reality, there's probably going to be a section that's probably going to stay open.
Right.
Maybe the on the left side of the house, you can open up that front little section there. I don't know, that'll only give you about 10 feet. So you're going to need to probably maybe push them over closer to your other property line.
Yep.
So you get a vehicle in and out of there,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and as you can see, we have about 15 feet between neighbor's property, so that should be no problem at all.
Yeah, and now there's the runoff. There's no runoff from the back of the house to the street, is there? Or is it?
Nope. It just goes directly. There's a small wooded area, and then it goes to a neighboring development.
Yeah. Okay. And then you're going to, as you're excavating, you're going to take out most of the spoil at that time and not stockpile.
That's correct. That's correct.
You need enough for backfilling.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. So Lucia, you want to speak on this?
Yep. I'm gonna stop. Hold on. It's hard when I have to share the screen. I forgot to record. All right. So really, my notes just say, because as you already said, it's a super simple project. So whatever kind of erosion controls you guys want, we don't allow hay bales. I already expressed that to them. Yep. I can send them some links. I don't know if you guys have any links of companies that do a good job with the compost logs or the straw wattles that don't have the mesh on them. One of my recommended conditions would be, where do you guys want stockpiling? That's something, are we going to need to stockpile?
Well, I think we kind of discussed that a little bit. Would hope that it only be stockpiling enough to do the backfilling. Are you putting in a full basement?
Yeah, there'll be a full basement.
Okay. So there's quite a bit coming out. So usually the contractor knows how much to leave so that he can backfill.
Right.
And if you could do that, then I would think that probably towards the rear would be the spot you'd have that stored.
Right.
Even though, let me find the wetlands. So the wetlands are, this is the wetlands right here.
Yeah.
Remember this area, Bay State Boulevard?
Oh, yeah.
So I guess my conditions would be, if you guys were going to, after you open it to the public, I think I do see some members of the public there. There's a lot of people in the meeting room right now. But it would be, the erosion controls must be inspected and approved by city staff before work can commence. Typically 48 hours before the start date, I would get an email. If you guys wanted to add a stockpiling condition, I would highly suggest that you do, if they are going to stockpile on the property, that erosion controls are around it and then it's covered with a weighted tarp at night. And then just the other, I guess my same one is the owner should notify the commission in writing once work is completed. So 3 super easy conditions: erosion controls, stockpiling, and notice.
Okay.
Great.
Those sound fine to me. I think we talked a little bit about the stockpiling already, right?
Yep.
And how about the rest of your commissioners? You guys have anything else you want to add, or have any comments or questions about this?
It's like a pretty straightforward project.
I guess no questions. Then in this case, Lucia, why don't we open it up to anybody who is present at the meeting, wants to speak?
May I interrupt, Mike?
Hello?
May I interrupt? I'm just going to suggest that, is it possible to use the utility easement for access, just only access, obviously?
You know, I don't know what that utility easement is for. I don't know if it's drainage or if it's sewer or water, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's currently just,
Property, I mean,
yeah, right now it's currently just like a wooded area between our fenced in property and then our neighbors. So yeah, Mike, it's probably not really feasible to put anything.
Wooded. All right.
Yep.
So if any members of the public wish to speak, now would be the time to raise your hand, please. There is one person, Susan. I am going to allow her to talk. I'm actually going to promote you to panelist, Susan, so you should be able to unmute yourself. I thought I just promoted someone to a panelist, but I'm not sure if I did. Oh, no, I did. So Susan, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Hi, I'm Susan. Can you hear me?
Hi, Sue. Yep, we can hear you.
Hi, I'm Susan McCatherine. I'm at 1 Allen, so I'm at the abutter on the right-hand side, according to looking at the picture. I did have a question because I'm all of a sudden now that I'm looking at it, I'm not sure I am understanding it. So that solid line is my fence, correct, Brad?
The solid line where we're posting like the erosion control proposal.
No, the one
on the right side of the easement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Right.
your fenced in line.
That's
Yep.
me. So, okay, so the easement in there is, now that's not level. So there'd be something at the top for erosion control? I never
Yep.
thought of that because that isn't, your entire yard is level, but that slopes down. My yard's quite a bit lower. So the erosion control, so is that dashed line your fence?
Yep, that's correct, Sue. So the
Okay,
erosion,
so
the
between
erosion
those two
control
fences, it's would
Sorry.
be
Go ahead.
by your fence. So there's like a little, I call it the dead zone in there, that it isn't level. So that would be, so it wouldn't, the water wouldn't run down more. I
Correct.
don't know if it would anyways, because your yard is level, but I had never really thought of that.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
there'd be a permanent thing there? Is it?
So you're not changing the grade of your property. You're going to maintain existing elevations.
Correct. Yep, that's
So
correct,
the
Mike.
drainage, the BMPs will be in place, so should be no siltation traveling across the easement, and then when it's done, the grades will match what was there before.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So though what I was saying thinking if there's an actual building there, that maybe the drainage would be different. So where the house is now, there's like the wall. I mean, it's a little bit different in the front than in the back, is right up, I guess I'm not explaining it clearly. So if you put in a basement and everything farther into the back, that would change the drainage. Just the fact that you're taking all the grass and dirt up. So against that line where the compost logs are, it dips down from there. Down to those are 2 fences, and it, I don't know, it's probably 8 feet, isn't it? Or something like that, that it would drop down.
Yeah, I think looks, just looking at the plot plan here, Sue, it looks like it's about 20 feet or so.
I mean, grade wise,
The difference in elevation from
elevation wise, it's not,
the,
I don't think it's 20.
the difference in elevation from where the BMPs will be placed and where the property line is on the right side of your house. What might be that grade difference?
Yeah, I'm not positive.
I'm not positive either, but I would say
Yeah.
it's
The plan
probably
shows,
8 or 10 feet.
Yeah, that's probably right.
the plan is showing that only the area inside the composting BMPs is any place where any kind of work is going to take place. So everything inside that
Right.
foot wide utility easement is untouched.
Right.
So everything should be fine. Everything.
And
Okay, except for next to that, it drops down. So right now it's all dirt, so it would absorb all the water. But the little between the dotted line and the solid line is a like a hill.
Yeah. And that's not, there's no activity or disturbance going to happen in that area.
Correct.
Okay, okay, but I'm not sure what the compost logs would do, because if a basement and everything was put in there, there'd be more water running down that hill than there is now. Because now it's all absorbed by the yard. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I understand that, but
So I'm not sure if the compost logs, are they a permanent thing that would?
no.
It would only be during construction. So yeah, I don't think I realized that you guys were doing a full basement. And this used to actually be my neighborhood. I lived on Sherwick Road, and this area floods. My basement flooded. We lost our washer, our dryer, almost lost our utility components. So are you guys sure you want to put a full basement in there? Have you checked the groundwater yet? Do you even know if you can put a full basement in there? Because I think that sounds like that's probably Susan's issue is, and she's right,
Well,
water will be displaced.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, they're high. They're up higher than I am, so I'm lower. So if I might get more, and actually the back part of my yard, which is probably from where it says assessors map backwards, is even lower than the other part of my yard. So I get pretty low in the back, but you know, I hadn't thought of the water running through the you know, what I'm calling the dead zone. But it is a bit of a hill. I mean, it might not make any difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we've really had an issue with flooding in the past, Sue, so I'm not sure this would really cause much of a change.
You haven't. I have. I have a sump pump. You know, so I have had an issue. So I don't know if it would make a difference in the back there on the water, or if maybe, I don't know. Before they built Allen Road Extension, there used to be like a little gully between us. So, and that would fill up with water and take care of it. But when they moved all the dirt, that no longer is there. But I'm just not looking at it. If all that area is displaced, which now it does absorb water, whether it would make a difference in that hill. I mean, you don't want the whole hill running down either, eroding. I don't know, it's just a question.
Yeah, and I will tell you guys from personal knowledge, I actually lived on this street right here. We all flooded, my house especially, and then Arnold Road, this house, this street, the people that abutted the back of my house here, they actually flooded as well. So I think the groundwater might be high. And Cherwick Road, this is Cherwick right here, and it is at a bottom, my house was at the bottom of the hill. So everything came from here and gushed down into my basement and the people behind me on Arnold. So just keep that in mind. There was nowhere in the application that actually said it was a full basement. I was just thinking it was like a slab or a crawl. And I honestly wasn't even thinking about displacement of water.
Yeah, it's a 2-story addition, so we'll need a foundation.
Foundation.
Is that I think that easement is actually a drain somewhere, somehow,
Could be.
if I remember correctly.
Usually they are. It's usually drainage or sewer. So it's probably drainage. If I could ask a question about the addition. There's a couple shapes. You know, it says proposed addition and it shows 16 by 35. Then there's another kind of a shape inside the square. What's the difference between these two things?
Yeah, Mike. So the shape within the square is actually our existing deck.
Okay.
So that would just be, the addition would be replacing essentially approximately the area of where the existing deck is.
Brad, I've got a question through the chair.
Yeah.
Is this entire project within the 100-foot buffer?
I'm not sure if the entire project is. I think it goes like halfway into where the project would be. I think it's something around 60 or 65 feet or so.
Okay.
To the wetlands.
So this property is non-jurisdictional or is it jurisdictional?
No, the entire project is in buffer zone. He's saying it's 60 feet away. So it's the
Okay.
last like 40 feet of our 100-foot wetland buffer.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, any other commissions have any comments on this?
I don't think this is going to have any effect on anybody other than, I don't think it's going to have an effect on anybody.
Yeah, I don't think it will.
The abutter at all.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything that's going to affect any of the grades. When he's done, that's it. I understand that there's going to be a roof and there's going to be some runoff, but it's just going to run off to the adjacent ground. It's all in his yard.
Yeah, I think you, yeah. Okay. What are you doing with your roof drains?
In terms of once we finish the project,
Yeah.
we would just do what we have like as existing drains just on the new addition off the back. So yeah, I don't think we have any plans for anything different than what we would have currently had on the existing property.
Just straight into the soil, into the grass?
Right, yeah, just straight into.
On, I was gonna say onto, not into, right?
Right, correct.
Onto,
Yep, onto, on top, yep.
All right. All right, so, what is the wish of the commission? I think the project is, certainly falls, I think will fall into the category of an RDA. But I think we should have conditions. So we could issue a negative determination with conditions.
Yeah, first I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
We haven't closed it yet. We're just talking now,
Oh, okay.
you know. Is that something that the members are looking to do?
I'd be willing to agree to that.
Yes,
Okay,
I support that.
Not really wondering what conditions do we need to put on it? It's a flat area. I mean, other than, I mean, Lucia already said, we need to determine where they're gonna stockpile.
Those
And
could type of
erosion
conditions.
controls.
Those are the conditions that we're referring to.
right, the backfilling, you know, removing off-site the spoil from the excavation.
Notifying.
And just leaving enough for backfilling, and then the straw wattles to be in place before any work starts, that they be inspected by the city 48 hours prior to any work. Those three. So if everybody's fine with that, then I'll take a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Second by Mike. Okay, you gonna do a roll call, Lucia?
Yep, motion to close by Travis Wojcik, seconded by Mr. Vivaldi. And I'm gonna do a roll call. Chairman Rizzo,
Yes?
Vice Chairman Comack,
Yes,
Secretary Lazares,
Nope.
Secretary Lazares, I think he froze.
he froze. He's still.
Oh, no. I'll come back to him. Commissioner Athos,
Yes.
Commissioner Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Wojcik,
Yes.
and
Stu is gone.
yeah, I mean, it's still passes to close without Stu, though. I guess we can go on.
Okay,
I know he was worried about this happening.
okay. Well, we have enough anyways. Okay, so I have a motion to issue a negative determination with conditions.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Mike Vivaldi, okay. And Lucia, do you want to read those conditions?
Yep, so there would be a negative determination with a condition number 1, that the owner needs to notify the commission in writing before work can commence. Number 2, erosion controls must be inspected and improved by the agent before work can commence. And the third one is stockpiles. So basically a soil condition that only the amount of soil for fill shall be allowed on site. Any other stockpiles should be protected with erosion controls and covered at night, or do you not even want any stockpiles?
Well, generally when they do these excavations, the contractor's he's gonna take out most of it, and he's probably gonna leave enough around the perimeter of the foundation so that he can just kind of like place it back in to backfill rather than pick it up and move it someplace else. So I think that with the erosion controls in place, I think if they remove most of the spoil that doesn't need to go back, I'm not so sure. I don't think we have to cover them. I don't think that'd be necessary.
Okay.
Did you have a time when you were gonna do this, Brad?
It's really weather dependent, Mike. So probably looking at sometime in the spring, unless
Yeah.
we get a pocket of weather in this winter, which
Sure.
by the looks of it, tonight we're probably on a bad luck slope here for weather. So it's looking like early spring.
I think that's gonna be okay.
Okay, and I don't think I did a roll call yet. So those were the three conditions. So no, you don't want them stopped.
Special conditions, right? The standard conditions.
There's no standard
This
conditions
is
on a
not
negative
It's not a
determination.
notice, it's just an RDA with the three conditions that we just talked
So
about.
the DEP sign is not necessary, or recording it?
I didn't hear that, I'm sorry, Mike.
Recording is it RDA get recorded? I forget.
Nope,
Oh, okay. And then there's no DEP sign necessary either?
nope.
Okay. My misunderstanding, sorry.
And we got Stu back.
Okay,
Stu, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear
Are
me?
you in agreement of closing the public hearing? You just missed that
Yes.
motion.
Yes,
And now the second motion, okay, good. So Stu is back on. And then they just made a motion. Travis made the motion. Mike Vivaldi seconded with the conditions that we talked about. I don't know if you heard all three of those, just the simple soil protection,
I heard them.
controls, and staff notified.
I heard them and I agree with them.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a roll call then. Chairman Rizzo,
yes,
Vice Chairman Comack,
Yes.
Secretary Lazares,
Yes,
Commissioner Athos,
Yes.
Commissioner Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Wojak.
Yes.
All right, it passes unanimously.
very good. Good luck, Brad.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Ready to go on to number 2?
I am. I'm just going to start. If I see people that are for it, I am going to put them over as a panelist.
Okay. Item number 2 on our agenda this evening is under notices of intent. It's a public hearing on a notice of intent submitted by John Dick, wetland scientist, for Danielle and Kristen Kapler, trustees. Proposed project is the construction of numerous additions to a single-family house, a driveway reconfiguration and shed relocation. Property is known as 1 Hoover Terrace, map 24, lot 38 in the city of Peabody.
The wetland scientist, I don't see him in the audience right now. I see the applicants who I did promote to a panelist. It's George and Nancy, but it's John Dick who is presenting. He did say he might be late though, and I told him that if he was late, we would skip and come back to him. So it looks like we might need to skip on to 468 Lowell and come on back to this.
Okay. Is there anybody, any petitioners here this evening that are in full opposition to that?
Everyone I see right now, it looks like is either here for 83 Pine, 468 Lowell, or yeah, 83 Pine and 468 Lowell, or 0 Willowdale. And
Okay.
there's a 603 number. I think that might be Curtis Young out of New Hampshire. I don't think that's John.
Okay, so we'll come back to item number 2 then, later on. So we'll jump to item number 3, which is a continued public hearing on a notice of intent submitted by Bill Manuel, Wetlands and Land Management, for Adib Elias, Jack Elias LLC. The proposed work is installation of fuel tanks within the paved parking area. The site was previously a filling station. The property is known as 468 Lowell Street in the city of PV.
I have promoted Attorney Vonzalides to panelist. The LSP Steve Fleming just came on, and Adib, the owner. I believe Bill Manuel is not going to make it tonight, but he might.
Bill's running just a little bit late. He mentioned to me that you may have some questions. We had submitted, since the last meeting, there were a lot of questions about groundwater and the disposition of groundwater at the site during construction of the tanks. We prepared a groundwater management plan and submitted to Lucia. I'm not sure if anybody got a chance to review it, but groundwater at the site is roughly 11 feet. Our tanks are going to be situated at 11 feet at the greatest depth. So dewatering isn't planned. However, we do have a plan to manage groundwater if we encounter it. And that would be to pump the water and put it into a tank. We revised our plan. Not sure if Lucia can put that up, but we've increased the number of erosion control. I extended it at the request of the commission. And we showed the location of the proposed fractionation tank. Again, we don't anticipate any groundwater management requirements, but we do have a provision to deal with groundwater, and we will be working in close contact with the LSP of record for the site, which is Sovereign Environmental. You can see on the drawing, the frac tank staging area is to the right of the building as you're looking at it from Lowell Street. And you can also see on this drawing, there are several monitoring wells around. And as part of our letter, we identified the data tables from the Sovereign report. The most recent one, I think, that was submitted to the DEP was in January. And we took that table out and included it with our submittal so that you could see the depths of the groundwater. Tanks are going to be about 8 feet diameter. They're going to be 2.5 to 3 feet below grade. They're not going to be pouring any concrete in the ground, so there's no reason to dewater. What they may end up doing is over excavating and then putting the stone bedding. So they could be excavating in the water. Most likely they won't be dewatering to do that. But what they would do is they would put stone bedding in, and then they would put dead men on each side of the tanks a long way, just in parallel with the tanks. And they would pour the concrete to create those dead men at the ground surface and then lower them in. And they would strap the tanks down. And generally what they would do if they had to dewater is they'd put it into the fractionation tank. And then once the tanks got into the ground, they would use that fractionation tank water in the tanks and just leave them there as ballast until they got them covered with stone.
Okay.
Has DPS looked at this project at all? Have they commented in any way, Lucia?
Sorry. I believe Bill Stansfield, let me just see. I don't think he, I mean, he got a copy of it. It doesn't look like actually, hold on. Because these are just revised. Yep, here's the DPS memo.
Yeah, that's the same one from last time. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not gonna respond. You guys brought up more comments than he did.
All right, well, I think the method of installing the tanks and the excavation associated with holding up the sides These are deep holes. This hole is, like you said, the tanks are 8 feet in diameter. They're about 30 inches down. So you're looking at 10, 11 feet of excavation, rather close proximity to the road. So for safety reasons and OSHA standards, you need to cut that slope back at least a 2-to-1 or 1-to-1, which is going to take you into this town layout.
Right.
So I would assume that you might be putting some sheet piling in or some kind of shoring to hold these holes up.
Yeah, that's probably likely. And the sheet piling will also control groundwater.
Right. So they're not showing the plans, and it's not on the drawing, and there's no detail for it. I thought I saw something about showing somewhere. Oh, drive sheet piling. Yep. It's a note on your plan. I thought I saw that.
We probably, it hasn't been designed yet. It has to be designed by a structural engineer.
Yeah.
And if they get approval, we can submit those structural engineering plans or the plans for the sheet piling as a condition.
Yeah. Okay.
But this is a standard practice for the tank installation. A lot of times they're close to the property lines. This case, it's pretty close to the roadway. We're trying to pull it away from the wetland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I know you put notes in the plan since last time about, doing, obviously, the condition of the existing pavement and surfaces out there in rather poor condition. So you're going to be doing some milling and overlaying, some saw cutting, but also repairing of the positive wind barrier around the canopy.
Yes.
But you have a note in there, but none of the work is shown as proposed. Like your tanks are red. So you can see it says proposed tanks, but you're not showing any limits of any saw cutting of the, and saying that proposed milling and overlaying and the reconstruction of concrete pad. I can see it in the note, but I think that the drawing should show it.
The entire concrete pad's going to be replaced because it was in poor condition.
Yeah.
And it'll be placed exactly in the same location. I think that's probably why it wasn't showing up in red.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is this going to be self-serve? I think I asked that last time.
Eddie's online. I think Eddie, is this going to be self-serve?
Yeah. That's what you guys said.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what the answer was the last time. I don't think it's gotten to the point where they've made that determination.
So the canopy and the islands are they going to stay? You're not doing any island replacement?
I don't believe the islands, the existing islands, I believe, are going to be reused. Initially, they were just going to trench over to them, and they're probably going to replace the pumps themselves because I don't know if there's any pumps even actually out there right now.
Yeah.
But they would normally put in new pumps, new lines, and up to today's standards. But the island itself was going to remain. As far as I know, the island is going to remain.
Okay.
Through the chair, one of the questions I have is, are they going to remain open during this? I mean, I don't know how they can, but are they intending to remain open during this?
They won't be able to.
I think the answer was the last time that they were going to have to close. There's going to be quite a bit of construction equipment in the area. The hay bales are going to be encircling the whole entire site. The construction fence is going to go outside the hay bales. So it's not likely that they're going to be able to, even if they wanted to stay open, they wouldn't have access to their garage openings. And obviously, there's no gas there now.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, now will the site be fenced off?
Yes,
Okay. Um, is it on the drawing? Is there showing a, construction fencing? Maybe it is. I see something. Yeah, you got a fence with a gate?
mhm.
Okay, I see it. All right. Um, so the concrete slab would be the same size. It is-
Exactly the
so-
same size as before.
So maybe, maybe we can get a copy of the, fire suppression plan. Has that been filed with the state fire marshal yet?
I don't think it has been designed yet because we're hoping to get through the Conservation Commission. Once we're finished with the Conservation Commission, we have to go to the town, to the city for construction.
Okay, so, well, maybe we can get a copy of that when it's prepared. 'Cause that'll show all the information about the concrete pad and the dimensions and
Okay.
all that stuff. Okay. And what about the pavement? Okay, so we don't know the limits of your milling and overlaying.
I'm sorry?
You can't tell by the plan of how much of the existing pavement is gonna be either removed and replaced or where the milling and overlaying, limits are.
We're not intending to do any more paving than is already out there right now. It's gonna be exact same. The pavement goes, the site is largely paved. The only areas I believe that are not paved are on the, behind the station and on the edge of the property, sloping down towards the wetland. We wouldn't extend the paving any further than it already exists.
Yeah, but you're not. I don't know, I just think there's gonna be a lot more pavement work than you're saying. You're gonna dig all that up for the tanks, and then you're gonna dig up the concrete pad. When you put the pad down, you set those grades, you're gonna have to repave to match the grades of the, so you're gonna be milling, you're gonna be doing the whole site over. Your plan should be labeled, should show a new, hot mix asphalt and the limits. I see the note, but the plan doesn't show where it's happening. Pretty simple thing to add to this site. So I would recommend that if we do that we label the pad to be new concrete pad, new pavement construction. There's not going to be much room for milling. Once you take the pad up and you dig out the tanks, it seems to me to be pretty easy just to peel up the other mix and just put new, hot mix asphalt down. And make it a nice site, nice looking site. Anybody on the commission have any questions?
Oh, my question.
Commissioner Akers?
Yeah, was there mention of the using of hay bales?
No, we don't want hay bales. We'll just say hay bales.
I thought that it was mentioned that they were gonna be using hay bales. I misheard then.
No, we don't use,
Yeah,
we don't
it's
use
drawn
hay
in.
bales.
It's drawn as hay bales.
I think that was one of the things that we started out with straw, straw wattles.
Yeah, not hay bales.
We asked the question and it's called, I think we're gonna use a mulch sock. And it's labeled on the plan somewhere. I think it's down by Lowell Street. On the bottom of the drawing. Bottom.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, okay.
We're not opposed to using straw wattles or mulch sock, whichever. I think that was preferable to the commission.
Yes. You prefer one from the other, Lucia? Straw wattles?
The first plan did show hay bales, and I think that's where author was probably looking at an older plan. I mean, my preference is anything that doesn't have plastic meshing. It has to be either biodegradable from the sun, or the compost logs that you just cut open and leave there.
Well, no, Lucia, they're all gonna be coming out. That whole site's paved, so once the construction's done, those will be just taken up. They can't be left there to go back into the soil. There is no soil, it's all paved.
I know, but even if they use the plastic ones on site, the plastic's gonna go in a landfill somewhere.
Oh,
So I'm just thinking of like post,
okay,
post construction.
okay. So that could be a condition. Anybody else? If nobody has any other questions, and Lucia, if you want to open it up to the general public who want to speak either for or against the project?
Yes, if anyone in the audience would like to speak, please raise your hand. So far, I can tell you, I don't think anyone in the audience is gonna want to speak. It looks like everyone in the audience is for, as I said, 83 Pine or 0 Willowdale.
Okay.
If you wanted me to read off my recommended conditions again, I can do that whenever you want. Or if you guys already have conditions you're thinking of, I don't even need to.
I think we kind of talked about it last time, and now we're getting we got an updated plan. I think I would like to see some of those, some of the proposed work relative to the pavement and the concrete pad to show on the drawing, so we could condition that, that the plan be updated to reflect that.
I do actually, sorry to interrupt, Councilor Charest has his hand up and he would like to speak.
Okay,
Sure. Can you hear me?
yes,
Yes. Again, this is not my ward. Thank you for allowing me to speak. This is not my ward, but my ward is across the street. And numerous constituents across the street has voiced to me many concerns with the many leakage that's been throughout the years. And when you're talking about removing the pavement in the soil, how is that, for me to express to my constituents, how is that going to make vulnerable to the wetlands? And I believe the pavement of the pump was going to exceed the buffer zone. Am I correct?
the buffer zone does, it crosses the concrete island, a concrete pad, but doesn't, the pump islands are outside the 100-foot buffer zone, but the tanks are in the buffer zone, half of them.
Sure. And you have to excuse me, your jobs are so much more difficult than mine to understand all this in the language that you use. But so the movement of the contaminated land that's there now, how does that affect the wetlands?
Well, I can't speak on that. That would have to be from the LSP, who's, part of this project. If the petitioner wants to speak on this matter.
Sure. We prepared a soil management plan. The site is currently an existing open hazardous waste, state-listed hazardous waste site. Removing any impacted soils from the site only improves site conditions and reduces overall contaminant mass. We expect that the upper soils will be non-impacted because the area had been excavated before, but we expect that the lower soils and the low portion of the excavation that are closer to the water table may be impacted by the gasoline constituents from historical conditions. Removal of any kind of contaminant mass can only improve overall site conditions. The material will likely be removed, recycled, and turned into asphalt batch material and reused as pavement. It's a great solution for a problem. The area will be replaced with clean backfill, and then the tanks will be installed so that the service station can operate at its highest capacity. The tanks that are going to be installed with all kinds of protections and a lot of leak detection systems that are pretty sophisticated. The system shuts off every evening, and if there's even a change of pressure in the system can't go back on again. So if there is a loss even between the two double walls of the tank, say the interstitial space detects that there's a loss of pressure, tank system shuts down. So it's a really sophisticated system that's going in there, and removal of the contaminant mass should go to improve site conditions. It will have no impact at all on the resource area of the wetlands. Removing that soil can only improve site conditions and reduce contaminant mass.
Thank you.
The chair.
Thank you. So you're saying the movement of the soil and pavement, there will be no release into, there's no escape from the removal? There's no chance of that escaping the removal going into the wetlands?
I'm not quite sure how that would happen. We're going to take the soils, we're going to pre-characterize them ahead of time in accordance with our soil management plan. When I say pre-characterize, what we're going to do is we're going to take soil samples using a small drill rig. It buzzes around the site, looks about the size of a small Bobcat loader. We're going to collect soil samples from the upper soils and the lower soils. We're going to run those for laboratory analysis. And before we even open the ground, we're going to have a location where those soils are going to be loaded from the ground to a truck and driven off site to an appropriate disposal location, whether it be asphalt batch recycling, and the upper soils we anticipate to go to an unlined state listed landfill for soils that come from sites like this that aren't impacted above reportable concentrations. So there are several landfills that will take soils and they use these soils as landfill cap material or for grading the site and closing out landfills or in between layers of rubbish.
Sure. So you're saying that removal is much better than just leaving it there?
Well, I think that leaving it there, it's being managed by the current LSP of record, Sovereign Environmental. They're doing their job. They're doing natural attenuation and monitored natural attenuation. So they're doing their investigation and remediation right now. If there is, I guess your question, if I'm trying to understand it, is is it better to not disturb it or to disturb it? What is the worst for the wetland?
I think that the, just the construction, the excavation, and the installation of the tanks, those tanks, those are fiberglass tanks, right?
Mhm.
Those are double wall fiberglass tanks. Those are backfilled very carefully with pea gravel. You can't even use the material that's there. It's gonna be all pea gravel, and it's only the top 30 inches of the site that potentially could be reused, but that's all gonna be taken away. I think it's gonna be anywhere in the tank excavation, for the most part. You can correct me if I'm wrong. It's gonna be new material.
New material. The entire excavation is gonna be new material.
Yeah.
And the tanks being 11 feet, as you said, the groundwater is at currently, it's not an issue. I mean, if you're putting the tanks in at 11 feet and the groundwater is 11 feet, to me, that seems, you would want the groundwater lower. And again, this is very new to me, so I'm trying to understand.
Well, groundwater fluctuates, it goes up and down. We have a groundwater management plan. I'm not sure if there was a question in there, but we have a management plan to take care of groundwater. And again, removal of the groundwater and containment of it until it's determined what is the most appropriate response action with it, whether it be truck it off site or to replace it right back to where it was. We have a plan for doing that as well. When it's allowed under the DEP's regulations. So we won't be doing anything that the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection doesn't approve. And we won't be doing anything that the LSP of record, which is Sovereign Environmental, isn't in complete agreement with. I'm an LSP. I might be working on this project on behalf of the tenant or the owner. And the construction company installing the tanks, but I'll be working closely with the LSP of record to make sure that we're both in agreement.
Sure. And I thank you. And again, this is a whole new world, and I tip my hat to commissioners to understand this environmental issues. I just know as a counselor, I certainly have a lot of concerns over this project in general. So I appreciate the explanation of understanding of what you need to do. And thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Thank you. If there are no more questions, Mike, yep.
The counselor brought up a good point. And normally, don't you need 2 feet of separation for that groundwater, Michael?
No, not for this.
Not for a UST?
No.
Underground storage tanks?
No.
Okay.
Tanks are installed in the groundwater table many times, and we have to
Tank-
treat water significantly.
The
Okay.
tanks are installed in a manner that sometimes tanks are constructed in a high groundwater condition, but the tanks get filled.
Right.
They get
And
filled.
it's the bottom, and Mr. Fleming mentioned it's the bottom of the tank that's at the possibly where groundwater is known to be as well.
Yeah, that's probably the case. That's quite common with underground tanks, because underground tanks are down 10, 11 feet, so that's not unusual anywhere,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the subgrade for the tanks they're well compacted, they're structurally sound, and then these concrete dead men are placed along sides of the tanks, and the tanks are strapped down, filled with either product or water,
Yeah.
so that they can't,
They can't move.
load up. And then
Yeah.
once everything's backfilled, then either the water's removed and products put in the tanks. Is that
Okay.
right, Steve?
Yeah, exactly. They're strapped down because they could pop up because of the buoyancy.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay. All right, if there's no more questions, any other questions, Lucia? I mean, should we make a motion to close the public hearing? Yeah, we can make a motion to, if there's no other questions, we can make a motion if when you folks want to do that, to close the public hearing.
Just,
I don't see anyone in the public as of right now. I'm looking again. I don't see any hands raised. So I think if you guys want to close, you can do that.
just for clarification, is 468 is currently is it currently used as a gasoline station?
It doesn't,
Their
it,
garage and a former gasoline
yeah,
station.
was
Or
it?
just it's renovating and updating and improving?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Michael, we ever got a report on, I know that when they originally removed the tanks, the soil was contaminated and there was quite a bit of an environmental mess. Did we ever get a report on that?
that's being handled by the LSP. I'm not sure, we kind of talked about it in length last time. I can't remember all the aspects of it, but, you know, with the site being under the control of the LSP, I'm confident that all protocols and proper practices and are in place. And if there's any material that's contaminated, would be moved off site and a bill of lading provided to show where it's been taken. So I think we're in good hands with an LSP on site. And it's also, this is all regulated and monitored, all regulated and approved, goes through the state fire marshal's office. So this is, you know, and the equipment is very high technical equipment that, you know, I feel confident that, you know, a project of this type, not that people like gas stations in neighborhoods, but it'll be built correctly and safely. So, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, second by Travis.
I'm gonna go ahead and do a roll call. I have a motion to close made by Mr. Lazaris, second by Mr. Wojcik. Chairman Rizzo,
Yes?
Vice Chairman Comack,
Yes.
Secretary Lazaris,
Yes.
Commissioner Athos,
Yes.
Commissioner Vivaldi,
Yes.
and Commissioner Wojcik.
Yes.
All right, it passes unanimously.
Hey, do I have a motion to issue a favorable order of conditions?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
by Stu.
Yep. Second.
Okay, so we got our standard conditions, Lucia, and there's some maybe groundwater. Is there a condition on groundwater that we could? Well, the LSP will take care of that. But if there's groundwater issues, and they'll pump that to a tight tank and bring it off site if necessary. So.
Did you want to add any of the conditions that were recommended by me at the last meeting?
And those would be?
Well, tonight I just jotted down an extra one. So one would be work needs to be done in compliance with the revised plans and documents that would include the soil management plan dated 11/16/20 and any of the new revised documents that we got last week. Condition 52 would be no stockpiling, live loading per the narrative in the NOI. All work needs to be done per MCP guidelines and the AUL of record. 54, the underground storage tank must comply with all local, state, federal regs per the DPS memo. 55, staff must be notified in writing before work starts. Erosion controls, including catch basin protection, must be inspected before work can commence. I think it's either 55 or 56. All 21 e-docs should be emailed to the commission. In 56 or 57, Mike, you just, Chairman Rizzo, you mentioned that you wanted a copy of all the fire docs.
Yeah,
Or you
well,
called
once
it
it gets-
something else though?
Yeah, before they get their permit, they're gonna need um, a self-serve permit through the state fire marshal's office. And that has a lot of good information on it. It's got how the tanks are constructed, the positive limiting barrier around it. And so it's supplemental to what we need. So I'd like to get that when it comes through. But relative to the order conditions, I would like to see an updated plan that labels the concrete pad to be replaced and shows that the limits of the pavement restoration. So we could hold the order until you receive an updated plan.
Would the commission be in agreement with the other conditions, or did you guys have conditions as that you thought were better? Or do you not think these were necessary?
I think, no, I think you're fine. I think those are fine.
So Chairman Rizzo, what is that document called? Is it a fire marshal document?
It's, well, when I was in the business, I don't know if it's changed. It was a self-serve fire suppression system permit. That's still how it goes, Steve?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if it is self-serve or not. I did try to find out, but whatever documents the fire department is going to require, we obviously have to do those.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure if that's part of it, part of the package. I know that when they see the construction drawings, they're pretty detailed, and they usually do include the canopy and any kind of fire suppression that's required. I'm not sure if it's required if it's not self-serve, but I'm not sure that I'm not a mechanic.
That's why I asked, because if it wasn't self-serve, if it was full service, then there may be some requirements that aren't necessary relative to the fire suppression. But
I don't think it was decided during the last meeting, and I'm not sure if it's completely decided. I think that they were leaning towards self-serve. So if they do have self-serve, they probably will have that drawing. But the drawing was required because you really wanted to see the limits of the pavement.
right,
We're going to revise our drawing to show a red line where the limits of the asphalt pavement are going to be.
yeah,
Limits, and also the limits of the concrete. So maybe it's not as necessary now that you're going to get the revised plan before the order of conditions is even released.
that's fine.
So is that a condition that,
Yeah, and you know, generally, I know the site's flat, but usually they usually show spot grades at the corners of the pads. You know, so the contractor knows what grade to build it at.
yeah, yep. We can provide grades, and we can provide the plan the way it's supposed to be. I'm not sure what kind of information we have. I'm sure we have survey elevation data on that site.
Yeah.
So we can design actually a repaving plan and include the concrete pad with that and grades.
Great.
So that we maintain the grades that are out there right now.
Yeah.
That's the intent.
Yes. Sounds good.
Having said that, is the condition for the sprinkler, can we remove that as a condition? And if they do go self-serve and they make that decision, we can submit it at that point?
Yes.
Okay. And it will be submitted to the building inspector and to the town, to the fire department?
Yeah.
Okay,
Very good.
thank you.
Okay.
I have a question. Does the fire department and the building inspector automatically get back to us with requirements to the gas, to the gas station? Or do we have to require that?
We'd have to require it because it's not, you know, for our board. It's not,
Then I'm going to suggest that we do that. We require the gas station give us the information, what the requirements are from the fire department and the building inspector for the record.
okay.
So was that the condition, sort of what I said earlier, that we need a copy of when the time comes, if this is a self-serve, we'll need copies of any documents and paperwork from the fire department and building department?
I would like to see that, but my question gets also, doesn't it matter if it's self-serve or not to us?
Well, the important thing to us is what the grades are.
Right.
So we know that water's not being shed towards any resource area, and by them having the spot grades on there, we know we know the contractor's gonna know what to build it at, and we know that the any spill would be contained inside within the pad. So that's what we're getting what we need. If there is a fire self-serve permit associated with the fire suppression system, then I certainly would like to see it. I'd like to get a copy of that.
Are you worried that if the fire suppression system were to go off, it would affect the wetland?
No, what I'm saying is generally that document has a lot of information relative to the details of the concrete slab, the dimensions. There's a lot of stuff on there that's good information.
Okay.
A lot of work goes into building a site like this, so that would be it.
My concern would be if the fire suppression went off, it would be because there's a fire and there's liquids somewhere that you don't want to get into the protected areas.
That's it's a dry set. It has like a powder.
Oh, I understand, but the gasoline is not.
What are you asking? What's the question you're asking?
I'm suggesting that we get the information from the fire department and the building inspector for the record, and that information, because of the grades, we would also be aware of what would happen if gasoline spilled. That it wouldn't go into the protected areas.
Yeah.
The tank pad, if I can add, the tank pad is constructed with indentations that are made in such a way that they would contain a spill of 10 gallons. And that's what they're designed for. They're not just a design that go around the pad. That's actually spill containment for spills that are typically the largest spills that you would get from a pump. If someone were pumping and they had a problem, they don't expect it to be more than 10 gallons. That would be excessive. But a gallon or up to 10 gallons can be contained in the indentations that are in the construction on the concrete pad.
Yeah, because the hoses, they have a positive shutoff. There's a positive shutoff on that. So if it was ever an incident, everything just shuts down. And those, they lock, and only what's in the hose could spill out. Okay. I think that's it, Lucia.
Yep. So I just want to make sure that I'm understanding, if I can get my video to start again. There we go. That I'm understanding you right now there's a motion on the floor. Order of conditions 1 through 50, adding the conditions I just listed off. But to be held until a revised plan is submitted and approved, showing existing spot grades.
Proposed gates, proposed.
Well, I thought someone just said that they want to show the existing spot grade and that they're proposing to maintain the existing grades.
That's right. So once they're going to maintain the existing grade of the site within half an inch or so. So there's existing grades there. So any place where they're disturbing, it now becomes a proposed grade. They can be the same number, but you need to show as a proposed grade. So those are usually showed with a hard circle and a line with a grade, and the existing grades are usually shown with an X.
Okay.
So that the plan would reflect that.
And you also want shown on this revised plan, the areas of asphalt and concrete work, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So motion to approve that, and you're going to do a roll call?
I actually missed who made the motion and who seconded it.
I forget already.
Does anyone remember who made the motion and seconded it? You guys want to make that again?
All right.
I'd
The motion to issue a favorable order of conditions from Travis, second from Mike Vivaldi.
All right, and I'm going to do a roll call. Chairman Rizzo,
Yes?
Vice Chairman Comack, Secretary Lazares,
Yes.
Commissioner Athos,
Yes.
Commissioner Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Wojcik.
Yes.
All right, so it passes 1 through 5 with Bruce not voting. And before we move on to the next, I'm going to go ahead and turn his video off. Before we go on to the next item, the person that we skipped is actually number 2, 1 Hoover Terrace is here. So if you probably want to go back to that one first.
Okay.
Thank you.
I can't hear you. You're
Stephen, I'll be waiting for a revised plan and then I will forward that to Chairman Rizzo. And once I get the approval, you guys aren't in a rush. You just want to get this permit so you can bring it to other boards, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
okay. Thank you. Okay, I see. So we're going to go back to item number 2, which was under notices of intent. Item number 2 is a public hearing on a notice of intent submitted by John Dick, wetland scientist, for Danielle and Kristen Kapler, trustees. Proposed project is the construction of numerous additions to a single-family house, a driveway configuration, and shed relocation. Property is known as 1 Hoover Terrace, map 24, lot 38, in the city of Peabody.
Good evening. This is John Dick. I apparently don't have any video tonight. I can't account for why that is, but I will make the presentation as best I can without it. I hope Lucia can bring up the permit site plan for me.
Bear with me. I'm trying to find, I was given so many plans for this. I don't know where this is.
You gotta open the file. You gotta open that.
This,
Yeah, go to that.
that's not the most up-to-date
No.
plan though. This isn't even it.
Right, you gotta hit open. You gotta hit open up here in the left-hand corner, because it keeps going away. You gotta like down.
Oh, here we go.
There you go.
John, it's pulled up.
There we go. How's that? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Very good. Norris Brook was supposed to be ditched back in the 60s, and it was supposed to become the back line of the lot. So you can see a dashed center line along the back of the lot where Norris Brook was supposed to be. Well, that's not where it is today. It's way the heck and gone over on the adjacent lot behind our site. What that does for us is it puts us outside of the 50-foot no disturb by virtue of the fact that we kind of wiggled the garage a little bit. We had a plan that actually extended into the 50. We revised the footprint. The Kaplers, who own the property, are getting on in years, and they want more of their living space on a single floor so that they can get to it easily in coming years. So they're proposing to build an addition on the sides and the back of the house and a deck. The garage that's there, which is within the footprint of the proposed addition, will be raised, and they're going to build a new two-car garage as shown here in dark gray. That will involve the widening of the driveway. That will involve the relocation of an existing shed that sits next to the driveway. And incidentally, there will be a small shed, about an 8x10, removed from proximity to the riverfront. This entire site is lawn right up to the edge of the stream. And that's not going to change. But on the other hand, what we do propose to do is to compensate for all of this additional hardscape by recharging all of the roof drains and the driveway. And you can see here on the plan, there are dashed lines and a proposed drip line trench. And on the last page of the plans are details for those trenches. I would hasten to point out that we don't yet have a roof layout for the property. We're guessing where these trenches are going to go. Rest assured, the trenches will go underneath the eaves, wherever the eaves wind up being. But it just makes no sense to get ahead with the design of the individual floors and rooms in the houses until we get a permit to actually build the footprint. So the stone trenches will be underneath the drip lines, wherever the drip lines wind up being, and we'd be happy to come back with a revised plan when we have the architectural drawings.
So why would we issue a permit now if you don't have that information yet? What if you?
The architectural drawings are neither here nor there. The floor layout, all of that, under the wetlands regulations are not a concern of the Conservation Commission. It's the footprint of the impervious. What we don't know now is which way the roofs are going to pitch. It's very likely that they'll pitch exactly where we show them. You'll note we also put a recharge trench alongside the new driveway. We put a recharge trench alongside the shed. So this is actually a net gain for the riverfront. Areas that previously were discharged to surface from conventional gutters will now be discharged to a recharge drain built underneath the eaves. This is essentially stormwater management for single family houses.
Right. That's a big house.
It is, and as I say, this is largely because they're trying to convert to a one-story house so that they can readily move around without climbing stairs.
Will this
Through the
house
chair, how many? Yeah, go ahead, Chairman.
have- will this house have a full basement through this footprint?
Yes, these will be foundations.
Hello, this is George Kapler. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, no, there will not be. This house is a slab.
Okay.
And can I just clarify one other point? I know John's got so many projects, he gets probably mixed up. There is not an existing garage right now. So all that gray that you see is new proposed addition.
Yeah.
My apologies, I mistook the shed for a garage.
So through the chair. Oh, once again, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Is that large area over in like the middle of the screen, is that a garage?
No, it's all house.
Okay. And then how much square footage is being added?
Let's see, I think, John, on your application, was it around 2,000? With everything?
The alteration is, the total is 2,344 square feet. And of that, just a tad over 2,000 is within the 100-foot. You can see the 100-foot going through, almost through the front of the house. The whole lot is riverfront.
Right.
So yeah, 2344. Not a very big house, so it looks bigger than it is.
You're still gonna have two driveways when you're done?
Yes.
And the status of your, there's a pool there?
There is an above-ground pool there, yes.
So looking at the configuration of your new building, looks like it's pretty close to the pool. Is that gonna stay where it is?
George, I'll let you speak to that. As far as I know, it's not moving.
Anybody answering that question?
Is George there?
I'm sorry, I muted instead of unmuted.
Uh,
Yeah, the pool will stay there. Maybe the configuration of the stairway to the
Okay.
deck have to move.
Yeah. Okay. And I think the site is fairly flat.
The site is quite flat, yes.
Yeah. So you're not proposing any grade changes.
None.
Okay. And let's see, we got, is there silt sock shown on here?
The silt sock is shown. It interweaves with a 50-foot buffer because we have to get behind the building to work on the siding. So there's a section right in the middle of the property where the silt fence is a little closer than 50 feet to the wetland. That's just to give us room to swing a cat back there.
Oh, there is, yeah.
Through the chair,
Yes,
just a question, when was the house built, the original structure?
I believe that goes back to the 60s.
Correct.
The 60s?
Yes. Yep.
So the additional gray area is not, what we have standing now is still going to be part of the house as well, right?
Yes, indeed.
So what is the total square footage of all that?
I don't know the square footage of the house, but I'm guessing it's about 2,000 square feet. So 4,200 and something.
Yeah, I think it's actually around 1,800.
There you go. Yeah. So 4,000 flat.
Right.
Any other questions from the commission? Okay.
I have a question. The shed that's proposed shed relocation, is that moving the shed that looks like it's to the right of that?
That's precisely correct.
Okay, and the shed to be removed will just be removed.
That's right. Yeah.
My only concern about the shed location is when you have a pool, you have pool chemicals, and I don't want to see those running into the into Norris Brook. And I don't know if the shed is too close or not, if that's where they store them.
The nearest corner of that shed to the wetland is 60 odd feet.
Yeah, I think that'd be okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Yes.
Okay, so, Usha, you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, so the curb cut, did you guys already get approval from DPS for that? Because I don't know, see how they're on a corner? I'm not even sure if that's legal because it's two different streets. So did you guys already get permission, or is this just like your hopes and dreams? What are you gonna do if you can't get that curb cut?
Well, Lucia, there's already a curb cut there. There's an
We already have
existing driveway.
we have two driveways.
Why does it say proposed driveway reconfiguration, existing pavement to be removed?
That's why. There's an existing bituminous concrete drive there, and the new driveway is moving laterally. It's the same width, it's just in a slightly different location. But the curb cut's the same place it always was.
Okay, so they've always had ability to use this, because I see the sidewalk, and I know, people get a little, typically fire doesn't want people having two entrances, I thought, or at least odd like this, because it confuses them. I do want to let you guys know, the existing pool is in FEMA flood zone. I don't have any record that Concom ever approved this. So if you do approve this and issue an order of conditions tonight, you are ultimately approving and allowing everything that's shown on this plan, which that's kind of a good thing, because if the pool's going to stay, condition 47 would be that would be in perpetuity, the draining of the chlorinated water. So I don't know what they're presently doing, but in Peabody, if you want to drain that water, you do need permission from the commission if you're planning to drain it into the wetlands. And you're not supposed to drain it into a catch basin, as far as I know. And then it's a simple project. I mean, it is in riverfront and it definitely needed an NOI. I would say that the erosion controls must be, these would be my recommended conditions, 1 through 50, you know, to be determined which ones on the, of the 20 to 50 that we need. Because some of them, you know, are ridiculous. They don't need to set up signs every 6 feet, etc. But I would add erosion controls must be inspected and approved by the agent before work can commence. Staff notified 48 hours in writing of start date, email. I don't know if you guys wanted to have a stockpiling condition on this. If so, you know, that could be condition 52, I think. That, you know, stockpiles need to be either in the front yard. I don't think there's any room for them to store, and I wouldn't really want them in FEMA flood zone anyway.
No, no.
And then the last one would be the roof runoff by surface recharge trenches along the drip line in lieu of discharge via downspouts as stated and shown on the revised plan and stated in the narrative should remain in perpetuity.
Okay,
Those erosion control stockpiling and the pool condition and the roof trenches in perpetuity.
okay, sounds good. Okay,
I have a question about the drip edge. Oh God. I have a question about the drip edge trenches. If they're in perpetuity, don't they have to be cleaned out periodically? Because they'll fill up with all kinds of debris.
You're exactly right. Usual practice is that every 10 years, you take a look at them and see whether they're blocking up or not. And it's pretty obvious when they do, you start getting ponding water. And then you just dig the stone out and replace it.
And the current homeowner has to do that.
Well, the current owner or whoever owns it when it happens.
Right. Okay. Will that be written into something so it's identified?
Well, the order's on record forever.
But it'll be recorded.
Yeah, and you guys can, when they come for their certificate of compliance, because they're going to need at least a partial certificate before they can get their occupancy permit. But when they come and get the certificate of compliance, there's a section that we check off that would say conditions in perpetuity. And the pool condition would be one, as well as those trenches.
Bingo. Thank you.
Is there any approved permit for the pool? Does the building inspector have one?
I can't answer that question. No idea.
This is George Kapler. No, I no, that pool was there when we moved in. I mean, it's been replaced, but no, there has not been a permit.
I guess I'm thinking there should be a permit by the building inspector, or they should look at it anyway. Because we're going to grandfather it in once if it's approved.
it's an above ground pool.
Yeah, but the electrical permit should have been, I mean, if someone ran electrical that wasn't a licensed electrician, they could have a really big problem.
I mean, when I put in my above ground pool, I had to pull a pool permit and an electrical permit. And I had to have inspectors come out and sign off on both of them. The concern I have is that no one's looked at this ever.
Why would someone look at it?
You think?
That's fine. If that's a requirement, we'll be happy to do that.
Or maybe send a note to the building inspector when the building permit is when they pull the building permit, maybe they could include looking at the pool and making sure that it's wired properly.
You guys can also add that as a condition.
Yeah.
I would like to make that a condition,
Okay.
just to be safe.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, want to open questions to the public. Does anybody here want to speak either for or against this project?
If anyone's in the audience and you would like to speak, now would be the time to please raise your hand and I will promote you to a panelist. I don't see anyone. If we want to wait maybe 30 more seconds, because it might take some people a little bit of time. I highly doubt there's anyone here because typically on a single family house, I normally hear from people. If there's any opposition, I do not think there are any members of the public. So if you guys want to go ahead and make that motion to close.
Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second? Mike Vivaldi, okay, motion to, oh, yeah, sorry, Lucia.
So I'm sorry, it sounded like two people just made a motion.
I made the motion.
Yeah, Stu motioned and Mike
Second.
Vivaldi second.
Okay, so now I will do a roll call on the close. Chairman Rizzo,
Yes?
Secretary Lazaris,
Yes.
Commissioner Athos,
Yes.
Commissioner Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Wojcik.
Yes.
All right, closing passes.
Have a motion to issue a favorable order of conditions?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second by Stu.
And is that with those conditions that we just chatted about, erosion control, stockpiling, roof runoff in perpetuity, and they need to be maintained? And number 4, a pool permit must be pulled at the same time as a building permit is pulled?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and do a roll call.
A question on the stockpile.
What?
The stockpile we determined to be in the front yard, right?
Yeah, did
Probably on
you,
the side, probably on the, looking at the site plan, I would think that,
They're in front of the house.
yeah, the front. Well, there's trees there. I don't know where, wait a minute. Go around the corner here. Yeah, it could be the front. Could be the front. Hopefully they'll take out any material that doesn't go back in. Although
so no stockpiling in like the 50-foot riverfront as demarcated on the plan?
yeah, that's a good, yeah,
That'll do it.
that'll do it. You can put it on the corner. They can put it on the corner where the reconstructed driveway, that area right in there, towards the corner of the lot. That's a good spot for it. So you didn't take a roll call yet, Lucia?
Nope. Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Comack, Secretary Lazaris,
Yes.
Commissioner Athos,
Yes.
Commissioner Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Wojcik.
Yes.
All right, passes 5 commissioners.
Thank you very much.
Hey, good luck.
Good night.
Right.
1, 2, 3. Okay, item 4. Okay, so item 4 on the agenda is a request for a certificate of compliance. It's a continued request for a full certificate of compliance as made by Curtis Young, environmental consultant, wetland scientist, on behalf of Group 1 Automotive or DEP file number 55-832. The project is entitled Proposed Inventory Lot. The address is known as 0 Willowdale Ave, map 39, lot 29 to 23, lot 29 and 23 in the city of Peabody.
I think the person, Jeff Kleiner, that I just promoted to a panelist, I think that's the only person here, but I am not certain. Okay, here we go. There's one more person. I am promoting S. It was the one name I didn't really know. I think I promoted the two, hopefully. All right.
Jeff Kleiner. Someplace. There he is.
So Chairman Rizzo, presently, William Paulitz has not signed off on this yet, but at the last meeting, Vice Chairman Comack asked that someone attend that can discuss engineering, that why this is being held up so long. So they are here tonight. I would just ask that they state their name and affiliation, because neither of the names are familiar to me.
Steve Catani from Dynamic Engineering, the civil engineer of record for the project.
I am Jeff Kleiner, the Director of Facilities and Operations for Group 1 in the Northeast that handles this property.
So I think, Lucia, maybe to answer your question regarding the timing and the delay. So we've had some delays getting the survey as-built completed. Not really sure what the delays were on our surveyor's end. It's just been a bit arduous getting the physical as-built completed. And I understand additionally, there was a miscommunication regarding construction records and the stormwater management system and some of the record keeping that was done as part of the construction of the project. So we've been making all efforts to get all of that information together so that we could provide William and staff with 100% of the information that they were looking for. So we believe currently all the information that your professionals need are in their hands, and we're just waiting, I believe, for William to issue his final report, and hopefully we'll be able to get this closed out next month.
Okay, I read all the responses and stuff, so it looks like you had an answer to everything. And I was having some trouble with the PDF for the as-built. It keeps going away on me. I can't get it to stay. But
maybe that's why it was delayed so long. It was going away from us too.
Yeah. So
we would have. We unfortunately William wasn't able to get his letter together. We would have hoped to have just kind of gone through, his comments and would have hopefully been able to wrap this up before the end of the year. Unfortunately, looks like it's going to push to another month. Obviously, everyone's aware that the lot has been completed for some time. Everything is functioning and operating satisfactorily, and we don't really believe there are any issues associated with the lot. I think at this point, it's really just a question of dotting the I's and crossing the T's so we can get this COC issued and move on from this project.
okay, so we got to wait for Will's response, but it looks like you covered everything. Looks like you responded well and gave answers to why certain basins weren't there that were on the original plan. So
I think there was I don't believe William had the most current file that was issued. So I think he was generating some comments from an older sheet. So I believe everybody's currently on the same page and everything should make sense.
okay, so we'll have to continue this.
Unless you want to approve us without William's comments, which I wouldn't recommend, but
I don't want to do that.
No, of course not.
Okay, so it looks like next time we see you guys, it'll probably be all set. So I'll just wait for Will to review this stuff and come back next month.
That's our plan. And we've got a couple other projects. We're going through the same process. So hopefully early in the new year, we'll get all these wrapped up.
Is that good with you, Lucia?
I've been fine with it. It was Vice Chairman Comack had asked them to be at the meeting.
Okay.
So I don't know if he has some questions or not.
The only questions I have is, you know, listen, they're a big company. We've had this happen to us before. It just gets they keep kicking the can down the road. I don't want this to be one of them.
No, we're not. It's not intentional. We really don't want to be kicking the can down the road. I'm not sure why the as-built took so long to get completed. Rober is, you know, they're a reputable surveyor in the area. They did the original survey many years ago, and just not really sure why it took so long, and there was a lot of information that was missing. So it certainly hasn't been intentional, and if all goes according to plan, we'll have this wrapped up next month.
Great. Okay, so motion to continue this to next month.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Second by Bruce. You roll call for that, Lucia?
Yeah, I don't think we do need a roll call. I was even told if we didn't have a local ordinance, we didn't even need to do roll calls for RDAs. But under a local ordinance, it is considered a public hearing. I don't think that DEP considers it a public hearing. I would just, I mean, I can do a roll call just to rather err on the side of caution.
I think for this one, just raise our hand if you want.
Sure.
So all in favor of continuing this to next month?
Yay.
See a hand from everybody?
Travis?
Okay.
All right.
Next month.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Be safe.
Yep. Okay. Item number 5 on the agenda is a continued request for a full certificate of compliance. It is made by William Manuel from Wetlands and Land Management for Roy Simios, PB Municipal Light for DEP file number 55-840. Project was known as the PB Municipal Light Substation at Russell Street.
You guys already
Well, we'll
continued.
continue this to January. So motion to continue this till January.
So moved.
All in favor?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not going to do a roll call because you guys actually already continued it to January at the November hearing. So we're all set.
That's correct. Okay. Okay, next item. Under violations, it's a continued violation at 83 Pine Street. Failure to contact commissions to inspect erosion controls has caused sediment to enter a catch basin, clog a culvert, and alter a resource. Staff is working with the contractor to remedy the situation.
I think there are a number of people here who represent this project.
Okay. All right, who's, oh, Peter.
Yeah, I'm here representing the project, but I believe there are a couple of representatives from Conley Brothers, and also my associate wetland scientist is I think on as well. Are those people all recognized, or?
Yes, I'm here, Peter.
Okay.
Peter, this is Chad.
Okay, Chad. All right, I want to start off by explaining that it is true that we did not notify the commission when the erosion controls were in place, but we did put silt sack out. We did not put a erosion control within the catch basin itself, but we don't agree that it clogged the culvert or entered the catch basin and went into the resource because the whole purpose of this project was to clean the culverts. The culverts on this site hadn't been cleaned, we don't believe, in years, maybe even since the initial construction of this as a school back in the 60s. And so one of the things that we agreed to with Public Services was that we would clean out the drainage system. And the whole situation began when we contacted Will Politz to ask permission to dig a small sump at the outlet pipe of the entire drainage system into the wetland area so that we could clean the last section of pipe. Other sections of the pipe had been cleaned manhole to manhole, but the last section we really needed to have a little sump in the existing discharge because of the fact that the pipe was silted up, and it was silted up at the time we arrived when we did our original survey. If you look at our original condition plan, we showed that a number of the catch basins on site were all clogged and that the pipe was full of silt when we arrived on the site back in February of this year. And I think that we submitted to you, Lucia, a picture of the outfall of the pipe initially. Do you have that?
I have pictures that I took, and I have pictures that I was emailed today.
One of the pictures I think you emailed today showed the condition of the pipe when the project started.
Okay, so are you asking me to share my screen?
Yes. I just think it would be good for the commissioners to see what we're talking about. I don't know that they've gone on the site or not.
I remember seeing some photos that showed a lot of siltation in some of these outlet pipes.
Yeah, that's one of the catch basins, and that shows the silt sock that we put in. But there's one that shows the outlet pipe.
I think it's the last photo in the series.
That's the outlet pipe there. I don't know that that's the exact conditions when we started, but you can see there's a concrete head wall. It's not at 90 degrees, but it's maybe at 120 degrees or something like that. And they actually, we cleaned it out a little bit. You can see the pipe is silted up, and the request was to just dig a little sump at that location in order to be able to get that last bit of silt out of the pipe during the cleaning. It was during that time that Lucia noticed that we had put in the erosion controls, but we hadn't given notice to the Conservation Commission, which was actually in our request for determination. And so Conley Brothers proceeded to go to the catch basin which was nearest to the construction site, and that's what the other pictures are we have. And maybe I would ask at this point Chad, who actually opened up the catch basin and stuff, to describe the conditions of that catch basin.
Yeah. So when we first started the project, we knew that the catch basins were in bad shape. So we were in the process of cleaning them out. And then if you happen to go to the first photo, Lucia, this is the one catch basin that our site drains into. So this is after she was out there. We put the protection on the catch basin. And then if you go to the next photo, it just shows general debris in there. This is right before we started to back truck it out. The next photo is just the process of jetting and sucking out that area. Then go to the next photo. Basically just not very far down into that catch basin, someone previously had put that patch up pavement down in there. This outlet pipe to the left, someone looks like they jammed a bunch of concrete and then spray foamed it shut for some reason. And it's pretty clear that there's no way for material from our site to have gotten out to that head wall from here.
And we don't know why this pipe was plugged up, but we do know that there were a couple of changes that were made to the parking lot here. That's why if you look at our site plan, you'll see that a bunch of former catch basins were converted to manholes and catch basins added. And this particular basin was, I think, typical of the basins that were constructed on site. It's not really a sump. It's just a block structure with an outlet pipe. That was probably a 12-inch reinforced concrete pipe. You can see a piece of the reinforcing where it's cracked there. And we don't know why anybody would have blocked it up, but the pipe was in the catch basin was reported as being clogged in our initial survey, and the pipe was blocked by somebody, which is why as silt got into the basin, it just remained in the basin. It never went down the pipe. There is silt in the pipe, but that pipe is from silting from a long time of neglect with the prior ownership and maybe to some extent the current ownership. So that's our contention, is that we understand that we failed to give the notice, but we didn't cause the siltation, and we would like the commission, under their ability to allow maintenance of a drain system, to allow us to dig a small sump at the outlet of the final outlet of the pipe at the head wall, so that we can clean the silt out of that last section. It's difficult to do it other than to clean it downstream, as I'm sure you know. And what we would do is take the silt out of the mouth of the pipe and clean the pipe downstream.
Is this city property?
A part of it is. This particular basin, I think, is on property that's owned by the condominium, and actually the primary owner of the condominium is the Covenant Christian Academy. But there are a number of other condo owners there. There's another school and some other users there that actually own their sites. Interestingly enough, a big chunk of the parking lot is actually still owned by the city. I believe it was because the city needed to own 400 feet from the public well, which I understand from Will Paulitz is no longer in operation as part of the city's water system, but at one time it was. And so in order to own the 400 feet, you had to own the parking lot and the drainage system as well.
I don't have the construction plan in front of me to see what catch basins were existing and which catch basins were new. But there's an extended list on public services of drainage issues that they're looking for you to comply with. And they range from making sure there's no catch basins connected to each other. They all have to go to a manhole individually.
That's actually downstream of our point of discharge that they made that requirement. Not all the catch basins on the site. There's a lot of catch basins on this site. We agreed that there would be no basin connection within the piping system that's downstream, and that meant that there's one catch basin we have to. We're going to convert it to a manhole and put the catch basin offline. When we build that catch basin, it will be a catch basin in conformance with the stormwater management. It'll be a deep sump and have a gas trap.
Is that on a plan somewhere? Is that?
Yes, that's on the plan that we submitted to Will Paulitz. Yes.
Yes, Chairman Rizzo, I can try to find the plan that they submitted to us, but they submitted this under an RDA and it was a one-sheet plan. If you want me to look for it, I can find it. I should have it on here.
Yeah, because I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do about this. It looks like Peter's saying we have a rather simple solution, and it looks like there's a whole list, a shopping list here, a lot of things that need to be done that I don't know who's responsible to do that.
Well, we're responsible to make that one basin to make it offline.
This is all we received. Just one sheet.
Well, that's correct, because we applied for a request for determination as to the jurisdiction to know whether or not we were going to be within the requirements of the Conservation Commission. So we flagged the wetland, we indicated the buffer zone, and got a determination. And that was that our activity would be outside the jurisdiction. But there was submitted to Public Services, there was submitted a site plan, which was reviewed, and the list that Chairman Rizzo is referring to was a list of requirements that we worked out with him. He gave us an initial list, and we came back and said, gee, I don't think you can ask us to change all the catch basins on the whole site. That's a huge order. There's a lot of catch basins on this site, some of which are actually on the town property. The town property is this large arc that you see on the plan. Everything that's down towards the bottom of the plan from the arc is owned by the city of Peabody and is marked city of Peabody, and that which is above the arc is owned by the condominium. So we intend and are working towards compliance with what Will Paulitz had required. One of the items of which was to clean the drainage system. He knew it was clogged at the time, and we agreed to clean out the trunk line, which is a 24-inch line that kind of runs down the open area, the green space there, and ultimately discharges down into the lower right-hand corner of this thing, and in an existing head wall that we showed you earlier.
So you think, so this drainage list that Will put together, you've discussed that with him, and with the exception of what you just said, these aren't going to be required?
No, he is requiring us to change any basin that's on the trunk line that we discharge into, which we agreed to do. The requirement that we have cast iron pipe from the roof runoff from the gymnasium, we're complying with. I mean, we've actually had a couple of correspondences with Will. The last of which he just issued a correspondence. I believe it was perhaps it was on Friday of the last requirements that we had, and we are complying with all those requirements. One of which was to clean the 24-inch trunk drain.
Okay, so what's the status of all that now then?
The 24-inch trunk drain has been cleaned all the way down except that last reach of pipe, and we were asking to dig the small sump at the mouth of the pipe in order to rinse that silt down the pipe and clean it out at the mouth of the pipe. That's kind of the way you got to do it. It's difficult to get it to run uphill, as I'm sure you're aware. What we did was we cleaned it manhole to manhole. We went down to the manhole and sucked it out, down the manhole to suck it out. Now we're down to that last reach of pipe. Chad, how long is that last reach?
It's probably about 100 feet.
And what we want to do is clean that down the stream from the manhole to the mouth of the pipe and pull the silt out at the mouth of the pipe. And we didn't want to do that without permission from actually, we initially asked Will Paulitz about it. He got in touch with Lucia, and Lucia said that the commission would have to give us permission to do that. And that's when Lucia came to the site and thought that we had caused all the siltation and were in violation. That's the print that I was looking for. That's what it looked like when we first got there. And I think that the reason there's a little channel washed out there now is because the pipe has started to flow. When the pipe was in this condition here, it barely flowed at all. There's also another pipe that comes from your athletic fields that belongs to the city, and it's over on the right-hand side of this picture as you look at it. Going back to that other picture. There's another pipe that comes in where those rocks are, and I don't know why the rocks are there. I can't explain it. I don't know, but that pipe is not free flowing either. But that comes from the athletic fields that belong to the city.
Yeah, only lately have I seen water coming out from that other pipe.
From the pipe that you see here, the half moon or the
No, from the pipe you can't see that comes from the athletic field. You can see water seeping out through those rocks.
Mm-hmm. But that's the condition that the pipe was in when we arrived here. It was, I would say, probably 2/3 full. It's, I believe, a 24-inch pipe, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And it was about 2/3 full of silt the day we arrived at the site.
These pictures were taken by me in October.
Yep.
Right. We hadn't done any work at that time then. In fact, that
was the day that this picture was taken.
Yeah, no, this is after we cleaned out a fair amount of the pipe, and there was that lot.
These pictures were taken by me in October before you did any cleaning.
Yeah. Oh, no, we had already started cleaning at that point.
Right, but there was no cleaning done at the discharge end of the pipe. We
Correct.
Clean it because we didn't dare go in and take the silt out at the mouth of the pipe without asking permission, although I believe you can do that under the maintenance requirements. We talked to Will about it, and Will said he wanted to talk to Lucia about it, and she said that we'd have to get permission from the commission to do it. But what we want to do is just, we don't want to clean the whole channel downstream. We just want to clean a little sump at the mouth of the pipe where the rocks are there, so that we can wash that silt downstream and pull the silt out of the stream with a probably with a vac truck. Can you get the vac truck in there, Chad?
No, we wouldn't be able to get the vac truck in there, unfortunately.
So you'd have to get in there with a small mini excavator and take the silt out and put it in a either load it directly in a truck or load it in something else and then put it in a truck.
Yep.
I mean, we're not asking to wash
How
the
far is the
silt out.
head wall from the parking lot?
What's that?
How far is the head wall from the parking lot?
About 30 feet or so.
Yeah, it's probably only 30 feet from the parking lot, but you can't access it directly from the parking lot without, you see that big fallen tree that's on top of the head wall, and then there's a kind of a rugged landscape there. What you have to do is go around into the park and come in from the right-hand side as you look at this photograph. But you can get a small machine in up to the head wall. We could go in with a bucket and just pull a little bit of silt out of the mouth of the pipe and get the rest of the silt out of the pipe.
I guess I don't understand why you can't vac it.
The truck can't get to that location.
Doesn't need to get to that location. You can certainly vac more than 30 feet.
The truck would have to get up close to that head wall.
No, it would have to just get within to the edge of the parking lot and run the piping down there.
Oh, I'm not familiar with the vac truck they're using.
I mean, the vac truck operator that we worked with could not get to it. So,
well, they certainly can vac a lot further than they can vac. Again, I'm not talking about, depends on the time of year, depends on a lot of things, but there's no reason they can't vac that. We vac them all the time. I mean,
well, we can talk to the contractor.
Well over 30 feet. Well over 30 feet. 50 feet, 100 feet. I don't think I've done one more than 100 feet, but I mean, I don't vac them. I subcontract it when I do the work, but I just don't see any reason you can't vac it. That's all.
Well, again, I mean, maybe we'll have to find a contractor, Chad, that can do it.
Yeah.
I don't know who we've used for a vac truck or whatever. If you go back to the site plan that we filed with you, Lucia, you can see where the head wall is relative to the edge of the parking lot.
Do you not have ability to share screen?
I don't have that. I don't have that ability here. That's why I asked, and Chad said you had said that you would help him with it.
Yeah, I unfortunately don't have, so our actual construction drawings do not have the blown up entire site. So ours don't act, and that's what I have here, are the.
If you look down in the lower right-hand corner, you
can see there's the head wall right there.
The head wall is shown right there. And that's the edge of the pavement, and the scale that you're looking at is a 40 scale. I don't know, maybe 30 feet maybe it's 60 feet. The edge of the pavement is that rounding that you see right there, and the head wall is shown.
And it's covered with trees. You're not going to back a truck in there.
Well, you can't back a truck in there, but you might be able to put the evacuation pipe. I don't know. Again, I don't know how far. Mr. Comack is saying that you can go 50 feet or more with that.
That could be more than 50 feet from the edge of the pavement, but if those parking spaces are 20 feet or 18 feet long, 1, 2.
Yeah, there's kind of a hill right by the side there. You can back the truck up a little bit, but there's a hill right by the curve there. And I don't know, Chad, could you drive the truck around to the way we walk in
on the field? I wouldn't recommend it. No.
Could you use like swamp mats?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're going to accomplish when you get there with a vac truck with all the rocks that are there. It's not going to take. There are rocks that are 8 or 10 inches. There are some rocks that are probably weigh 100 pounds plus. I don't know where they came from or how long they've been there, but they're definitely not going to get sucked up in an 8-inch pipe on a vac truck.
Well, but I don't know that, Steve, that we're looking to suck the rocks out. I think we're only looking to take the silt out.
Well, I mean, look at the picture that Lucia just put up there. I mean, I'd be happy to take the stuff out of there with a vac truck. I'm not trying to be difficult, but I don't think you're going to accomplish it. We can try again, but we can try. We haven't done it yet, but we'll get the vac truck guy back and see if he can do it. But if he can,
I can see if he's got a different piece of equipment that will work better. It's just, when we're on the site saying, hey, this needs to get out for us to continue on, the guys that were there with their existing equipment,
you're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to do it in these conditions anyway, because when it gets this cold and the vac truck starts to work, it actually, as the material goes through the pipe, because it's so super cold, it'll just freeze in the pipe. So that's not, you can't do it now anyway. But all I'm trying to suggest is that it might be advantageous to limit any damage in the wetland, to just run a pipe down there, and again, at the right time of year when nothing's going to freeze, you should be able to vac all the silt out of there. Again, I'm not trying to give anybody a hard time. We've done it many times, a lot further than, again, I don't see how, I don't really can't tell. I mean, I see the scale. It looks like it's more than 30 feet. But again, you can go up to, I think we've done them up to 100 feet. So I just think it would be a lot easier and less damage to the wetland. That's all.
And when would that happen, in the spring?
Well, again, you can, if you had a warm day in the winter, you could do it. But again, it has to, we've tried it. We've had our own problems doing them when it's getting cold.
Temperature's going to be in the 40s next week. So maybe we could get it next week.
As long as you don't have freezing temperature, as long as you don't have too cold, because when that air gets, it's just like a wind chill. I don't know. I just know it freezes inside the pipe. It causes all kinds of problems, and the operator's not going to want to do it.
Okay. Okay, Lucia, should we, move on with this? Are you gonna talk to Will?
Well, are you guys feeling like you want to give them permission to do this work? I have a feeling they might need to do it sooner than later.
Yeah, I think it should be done.
So, I don't know if you guys in November, Libby Wallace, the wetland scientist, did submit her mitigation plan, and there was, I mean, I can bring that up if you want me to, so you guys can read it, so I don't have to read it out loud. Because she does talk about probably not being able to get a truck down there. Again, I don't know enough about it, but it sounds like you guys may have, where did I do this? Sorry, here it is. So I don't know if you guys want to go by what she wrote, or if you want to, try for the Vector truck, or to the vacuum truck out there. But if you guys are you going to do this under maintenance, or are you going to put some condition on this and issue an emergency cert? That's something that's ultimately up to you guys. If you think a truck can just come in there, pull up easy. If the ground's frozen, I guess we probably wouldn't need any, if they're going to pull up on the grass, we wouldn't need to be too concerned about like using swamp mats or timber mats. I don't think it's too soggy, but it is city property. So if that gets all crushed up, someone's going to have to fix it. So I'm really fine. It's whatever you guys decide. It either has to be done whatever you guys say, however you say it, or if you want to
We do it under our there's no existing permit.
I can't, we can do it under maintenance, can't we? I mean, that's what it is.
I would do it under.
I definitely think you can do it under maintenance, yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
I really would like to see if they can. It's not a question of if they can do it with a vac truck. I know they can do it with a vac truck. I just don't know if they can get. I don't know how far it is. I mean, it looks more than, if it was 30 feet, I'd say you got no problem at all. I can't really tell. I don't know how far you can get the truck off the parking lot, onto the ground.
Well, the grade starts to go up there so that it's you're not going to back it up too far. It goes up over a hill. We'd maybe have to take a chainsaw and cut down. There's a bunch of dead vegetation and vines and stuff there. It's pretty overgrown, but we could probably cut a path through there and get the hose down there, the 8-inch hose.
I agree with what you said before. I don't believe you even need to remove any of those rocks. You just need to get the silt out of there.
I frankly, I was down there again today, and there's a huge accumulation of rocks, and a lot of them are, 6, 8, 10 inches. There's a couple of them that are that I don't think a man could lift, that are right there in front of that pipe. I'm not trying to be difficult. I've been doing this since 1971, and the way to get the thing cleaned out so that we can clean the pipe out with the least disruption to the wetlands, and would be to put a little mini excavator in there and a small 6-wheel dump truck, go in over the hill, around the corner onto the ball field, and right back in there, and you'd get enough cleaned out of there in about an hour, perhaps 2 hours, and get on out of there. I really believe that is the best thing to do and the least disruptive. We've had the the contractor that has the vac truck operation, and we've had him, we put his nose right in it, and he says he can't do it. Now, maybe we need another guy, but a different piece of equipment. I don't know.
You know, I would say I would gladly go down there with Lucia, take a look at it, except that I don't think we're going to be able to see much tomorrow.
Well, let's go down tonight.
Probably not.
No,
Yeah.
tomorrow's not going to be a good day for it.
So I mean, again, at this point, I think maybe you might have to wait a little while, but you know, based on the weather forecast, I don't think you're gonna be able to see much tomorrow.
How about this? As soon as enough of the snow is melted, one way or another, that we can see it, can we call you, and will you and Lucia come down there and meet me and Chad and Peter?
I have no problem. My office is 5 minutes from there, so I don't know. Well, I can't speak for Lucia, but I have no problem doing that.
All right. We just want to get at it and continue cleaning this pipe out and get the last of the silt out of this pipe. We've cleaned how much, Thad? 500 or 600 feet, 700 feet of pipe?
We've cleaned over 1,000 feet of it.
Over 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
And taken a huge amount out of the pipe, and I want to get it finished.
Okay, sounds like a plan. So,
all right.
As soon as the weather breaks and it's doable, then if you want to, you can give me a call. I'll go down with you too.
All right, good.
Okay, I just, there is, before we set up any site visits, there is a COVID protocol that I do need to send out to everyone. If you've left the state or been to large gatherings, have the sniffles, anyone in your house is sick, we ask that you do not show up to a site visit, and everyone is required to wear face masks on their nose and their mouth for the entire duration, and we should maintain physical distance. If all of those things can't happen, I will not be attending.
Well, we should do that anyways. We should do that. That's not a problem.
Yep. There's plenty of space out there.
Yeah, and we'll comply with that. I was on the site today and had a mask on. Chad did. It's the way we run our jobs.
Okay. All right, so let's leave it that we'll try to get to that as soon as we can. Whenever you guys feel that the access is doable.
Oh, we got to set the communication.
As soon as the snow is cleared enough that we can see what we're dealing with there, we'll get a hold of you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so Steve, you're gonna keep an eye on the site and let everybody know when it's time to go down there. Is that the idea?
Yes.
Okay.
And we should notify what, Lucia, or?
Yeah, notify Lucia, and then she can get to us. She can contact us.
Get you, and we'll set up a meeting.
Okay.
Good. Excellent. Thank you.
All right.
So to be clear, we're not, you guys are not, you do not want them to go ahead with this mitigation plan that Elizabeth Wallace has submitted. You want to wait until we have a site visit and then determine if this is accurate or if the truck is a better solution, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So you guys are not in a hurry to clean this out?
Well, her mitigation plan is to do just what we said. How we get there, we don't know yet.
Okay.
I think we all agree it needs to be cleaned out. I think it's just a matter of deciding how, and I think the snow is a little unfortunate, but you know, the right thing to do is to clean it out. And then frankly, I've asked Will, I know you are members of the mosquito control, to see if they couldn't do something with the downstream channel as well. He said he would look into it.
Okay. Well, I think we got a plan anyways.
All right.
All right, then we'll wait to hear from you guys. Once you can talk to Lucia, she can get back to us.
All right. Thank you very much.
All righty. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate the help.
Thank you.
Okay. Happy holidays to everybody.
You too.
Yep.
Be safe.
Good to see you. Yeah, you be safe too.
Was this continued?
Yeah.
Is this a continuation? You have to vote on, or?
Oh, no. Lucia, do we have to vote on this?
I don't think so, because it's not an enforcement order, and it's technically not even a violation order because I never filed any paperwork. It was just it's just, you don't have to continue it unless you want to keep it on the agenda to discuss in January, but sounds like we're all on the same page at this point, correct? So it's
Right.
really you guys. You want it on the, if you want to keep it on here.
Yeah, let's just continue it and hopefully we'll resolve it before then, but let's continue it so we don't forget about it.
Yeah, we're not going to forget about it. We've got to finish doing the thing. We should have Will Pollitt at that meeting too, that site visit.
Yeah, that'd be good. Good idea.
I think so. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, good night now.
Good night. Okay, item number 7 is under enforcements. So it's an issue, well, that's continued until 2021 anyways. That's the enforcement order on 44 Bartholomew Street. Nothing to report on that, right, Lucia?
No.
Okay, so that's continued already. Okay, so any other matters? We have our minutes. Minutes look like they're all, we pretty good with the minutes?
Yeah, Lucia caught up to her. She's completely caught up at this point, I believe.
I think
Yay! It's a miracle. Christmas miracle.
Anybody have any issues with that? I think everything's good. I don't need to sign those, right? You do that for me?
I'm doing it electronic now that we have the electronic, and I'm saving. I used to back in the day, it would get printed and go in a book, but honestly, the book just sits in the basement and collects dust, and I never go to it. I always go to the electronic. So all the minutes right now, if you go on our website, they're all 2020 are on there, and I'm pretty sure all 2019 were on there. And then I am also saving all of them on the OneDrive, so you guys always have access to you should always have access to the Zoom link and the transcribed minutes.
Need to go and find them anytime we want, going back?
Anytime you want. If you go on to, I made it so that you guys can go on almost like there's hundreds of files. And I even just recently finally uploaded all like the very interesting pictures of inside Proctor Brook Culvert. I was like 300 pictures. It took like an hour for OneDrive to upload everything. But I mean, I can share my screen right now and show you.
So maybe we should do maybe sometime we should do a little lesson on the Office 65 and how you traverse around the site. Not necessarily tonight.
Yeah, so I mean, this is you guys have access to all conservation. Like you should have access to 20. Well, actually, this whole thing you should be able to see. Like here's Oak Street. I think we had Stu videos are right here. Wetlands Protection Act. If you guys ever want to go on and read up on the Wetlands Protection Act. The 2020 docs I have, I'm trying to make sure I put all the permits in here that I issue, the minute.
How'd you get to there?
So whenever I send you that link, you should be able to, you know how I sent you the link for tonight?
Yeah, I got it open right now. I'm looking, I don't know how you just got to where you are.
You should be able to, I sent you guys like a couple weeks ago. I think I thought I sent like a generic one where I clicked all of these. So I should have been, you should be able to go back and look through everything.
Okay, but the link that you sent for this one, you can't do that. Is that correct?
No, you should, I think you should be able to because everything's under one giant umbrella. And you have access, like, I don't know, like if you can see all of these, it says it's shared. You guys are who I share it with.
Yeah.
You're really the only people. I mean, sometimes I share it with Will Paulitz if he wants to see it. But I can send that link again or see if I have that. I know I recently sent it out because we had 2 new commissioners appointed.
Yeah.
But I know my emails are overwhelming and I send a lot sometimes. So I'll put it on my list to do it tomorrow. That it's easy. I can just send it to you. It'll just be like the generic conservation link. And then that way you should be able to go to 2019, 2020, random files.
Good. Very good.
You can pretty much, it's just like any file system.
I'll do it first thing or tonight while I'm waiting for the recording to download.
Okay. So that's it, right? We are good?
You just need to make the
approve
for exactly.
What was that? What was that?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Yeah.
Motion to approve all the minutes.
From 2019.
Which minutes we talking about, Lucia?
The ones I
We're in
just
November.
finished.
September, October, November.
September, October, and November.
Yeah.
Move to approve.
Okay, motion approved.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, good. All in favor?
Aye.
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 You gotta go out and shovel.
Not snowing yet.
And
Didn't start yet.
I know.
Before we sign off, I want to wish everybody a good holiday and be safe and don't do too much shoveling tomorrow.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. Christmas and happy holidays to everybody. And
I'll tell you, the only thing I'll tell you, when you wear a mask when it's cold out, it's not bad.
Hopefully we'll do a dinner next year.
keeps you warm.
Right.
Last day of Hanukkah today?
Can't exercise, you might as well shovel.
Tomorrow. Stu, happy last day of Hanukkah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right,
Motion to
Lucia,
adjourn.
thank you for all you do. And I do want to ask one question before we sign off. What happened at the site meeting for Salvaggio's property?
Lake Street, yes.
Oh, yeah.
DEP still hasn't issued a superseding order as far as I know. I think Salvaggio didn't realize he actually has to submit paperwork to them, and he was expecting me to do it, and that's not.
Yeah,
it's
that's out of my hands.
Yeah. So I'm waiting to hear. I know the neighbors reached out to me like a couple weeks ago, just asking me questions, and I was like, hey, I don't know. They're gonna contact you first.
All right, so who went to the meeting? I mean, you went, right, Lucia? Who else went? Did anybody else? So Michael, you went?
Yes.
Okay, so I mean,
Did they talk about the 2-foot separation being sufficient?
I spoke to Michael Abel after, and it sounds like an amendment was not the proper channel. He should have filed a new notice of intent. So I imagine he's going to have to cut the house down a bit. But the way Mike Abel made it sound was, and I mean, I do know this, but I figured maybe he could get away with an amendment because that's the route Chris Mello wanted to go. But Mike Abel basically said any change in the buffer zone that is significant like that always is going to require a new NOI. I mean, this wasn't a deck or a patio. This was a massive like tripling of the house. So I have a feeling he's going to make them scale it down. But I don't know.
Okay.
Gonna scale it down, he's gonna make him submit a new NOI.
Possibly. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I doubt it because it's an appeal right now, but he's gonna there's probably going to be, I think they're in the discovery process, and then they're going to go back and forth probably. And
Okay, I didn't hear anything about it.
Yeah, I was wondering, I forgot about it. I was thinking about the same thing and I forgot to bring it up tonight.
I'm going to put it on my list as well. I'll reach out to Mike Abel. I just didn't know if it was, I didn't want to be like weird and pushy with him. So I will reach out to him and find out if there's any update.
Yeah, I don't think you even, if you don't need, I don't even really think you even need to reach out. I just was wondering what the status, I just was wondering what the status was. You don't need to reach out.
Let DEP make the decision of what needs to be done.
Yeah, I wouldn't reach out. I just was wondering if you knew, that's all.
Lucia, has it been 6 weeks or even longer?
We were out there the day after the election. So it's been, since November 4th, we were out there.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
a month and like
half.
6 weeks.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right.
Everybody have a nice holiday and a happy new year, and
happy holidays.
Okay.
And let Bruce and I know, Lucia, when they're going to be able to go look at that pipe.
Absolutely. Can we just get a hand raise for adjourn, please? Thanks.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Safe.
Thank you, Lucia.